Hi, PC here, and welcome to week 2 of our Intro to Marketing. So this week we're going to take a look at segmentation and target marketing and the SWOT analysis. And I hope you join me here for the next few minutes to just kind of review what you're going to be working on this week. Before we go into it, I would like to say I really enjoyed reading everybody's discussion posts. Great job. The names were great. Some of them are very, very unique and very interesting. So keep up the great work and using that creativity to come up with these great ideas. And I'm really excited to see what your final projects end up with for our pet food product. So with that said, let's move on to what we're going to cover this week. All right, so what we're going to look at is what we call market segmentation. All right, and what we do is we take the whole market or the whole population, and we try to identify certain characteristics of people. You know, we're all different. So we try to identify these characteristics of what would make the perfect customer. I like to call them the Mona Lisa customer. And your job as the marketer is to make them smile. And we use a variety of tactics here to work on this market segmentation. And the four that the book talks about the most is demographic, psychographic, geographic, and behavioral. And when you really want to try and narrow this down as much as possible, you're generalizing what your perfect um, customer, that Mona Lisa customer, what they would look like using these different characteristics. So let's jump into it here and see what these characteristics can be. So these are your different approaches. Geographical, of course, that's geography. We're all familiar with that. And this can be a variety of ways that you can narrow down your customers. It can be on continent or country. So you might focus on, Europe or Asia or North America or something, or it might be just a particular country like the United States. It could be even a region of the country. You might stick with New England area or the Southwest or the East Coast, whatever. You might keep it focused on a city. That happens a lot of time whenever you just a small store. You focus on just the surrounding area that you are in. You stop and think about it. New York City is different than Houston or Seattle. The people who live there are just a little different, and that's what makes the world great is the differences in the diversity that we see. It can also be climate is an important way of looking at things. Uh, a lot of products are sold according to the climate. You look at surfboards, for example. You want to sell surfboards where it's warm, and not only warm, but we could go back to the region where you're on the coastline. It's really nice and warm in Arizona, but or Kansas, nice and warm, but not so much ocean waves in those states, right? So you kind of can mix these different things. The population, the density of the population, uh, subway station, city area, you might even define it even smaller. So it could be just a certain amount of streets. Perhaps you have a small restaurant or something and you just want to keep it within a real small generalized area. Demographics is one of the most primary ones that's used by all companies, and for one reason it's very easy because everybody some way or another fits into each of these demographics: age, gender, family size. And then you need to remember too that you're focusing on who's buying the product at times, and then there's other times you're looking at who's influencing the purchase. You look at age, and if you're wanting to sell kids cereal, your commercials might be focused on the children. Product placement is focused on the children, but at the same time, it's the parents that actually make the purchase. So, it can get a little tricky when you get into those different types of segmentation strategies. You also look at what their occupation is, their income, their education level, religion, race, nationality. All these things play some kind of a role in helping you define that Mona Lisa customer. Psychographic, I think, is the funnest one because this is where you're getting right down to the soul of a person. And I have a cat that's Gracie's trying to help me out here, so but psychographics, as I said, it gets right into the soul of the person. It helps you understand what they think and feel and even do, and things like that. So it could be their lifestyle. Are they athletic? Are they outdoorsy? Are they eco-friendly? Are they can kind of go in with social class? Are they a high social class? Egos can play a role in that. It's just there's a lot of different things there. With the AIOs, I use this quite often: activities, interests, and opinions. So what would your customer, your perfect customer, what would they do in their time off? What do they do on the weekends or when they're on vacation? Do they like to ride their bikes? Do they like to run and take their dogs with them? Do they like to show their dogs? Do they just like to sit on the couch and read a good book and have their cat snuggle up with them? Things like that. What kind of stores do they shop at? What kind of TV shows do they watch? Where do they like to go on vacation? Things like this, their personal values and their attitudes. And you're probably saying, well, why does this even matter? But you stop and think about the difference in people, someone who shops at Walmart all the time compared to someone who might shop at Neiman Marcus or Macy's all the time. They have different attitudes, and they have a different outlook maybe on life, and they just look at things differently, and you communicate with them differently. So the psychographics just really helps you get to know the person. Behavioral, deals with how they use your product. All right, so it could be when they use a product, which is occasions, their degree of loyalty, or their readiness stage, or their user status. Usage talks about how do they use the product, when do they use the product, things like that, and or how much they use your product. And benefits sought, what are they expecting out of that product? What are they wanting? They're not buying pet food, they're buying some kind of a benefit for their pet. What is that benefit? All right, so let's look at an example. All right, so I picked out two vehicles by Ford. We got the Ford C-Max Hybrid. It's a little compact car. It's pretty cheap, only about $23,000, brand new. The miles per gallon is about 42 in the city and 38 on the highway. So it gets really, really good gas mileage, of course. It's a hybrid. And we're going to compare that to the F-150 Limited pickup truck, king cab, rough and tough and rugged, but very expensive. They're about $64,000 plus. That's more than what I paid for my first house. Of course, that was a while ago, but and miles per gallon is not very good. Only about 17 in the city and 22 in the highway. So it's a gas guzzler with a great big tank. It costs a lot of money to fill it up. So let's take a look at the different characteristics of what I would think. This is me personally just watching TV commercials and seeing ads. What I think may be a target market for each of these vehicles. So with the C-Max hybrid, I would guess that demographics might be men and or women. Probably younger age, 21 to 35 years old in that generation Y, the millennials, and they don't make a lot of money because they're starting out. So they're probably about a 25 to 50,000 household salary, annual salary, and they might be a recent college grad, could be their first vehicle, or a young professional. Their psychographic, I'm thinking they're probably environmentalists because the hybrid is saving gas. And I could see them going to Starbucks and maybe having a nightlife on the weekends. They're probably more in an urban area and they're driving in heavy traffic, so that compact car really helps with parallel parking or squeezing into those tight spots at the garage, at the city garage. And their behaviorals with this particular vehicle, they would probably drive it in a city location, and they use the car for commuting to work or maybe college. Maybe they're working on their MBA or something like that. So now let's look at the Ford F-150 Limited, though. I would venture to guess that the demographics would include primarily men. Ladies, let's not take any offense to that. We know, I know I have female friends that drive pickups, but they're probably focusing more on men. It's a little bit older, 35 maybe to 55. It's got a much higher household annual salary, at least 75,000, probably much more than that. And they probably work as an engineer or a construction worker or maybe even a farmer. I'm going to turn the video off here, so there you go, you can see it now. Some of their psychographics, they may enjoy boating, fishing, hunting, camping, outdoors stuff that's rugged and stuff. And they probably might shop at places like Tractor Supply or Harbor Freight. You know. They're probably more in a rural area. Those bad boys are really hard to park in city garages. I've tried it, and it's really, really hard. And the way they would use that truck is they would drive it in those rural locations. They use for hauling or pulling, hence the boat, maybe a camper, maybe a fifth wheel, something like that. A big gooseneck trailer, things of that nature. And the benefit that they're seeking is they need a tough vehicle for the tough jobs that they do. So as you can see, now that you can identify these characteristics of what you think the Mona Lisa customer looks like, it helps you develop a product, set a price, distribute it in the areas that these people are most likely located, and then how to actually communicate with them through your promotions. So this type of information informs your entire marketing mix strategy. So it's very, very important, and that's why it's one of the first things you really do. And what's really cool is that you want to look at doing a multiple segmentation. You want to reach out to as many different target markets as you can. You're going to sell more product and you're going to make more people happy. So the segmentation basis, what that does for a company, it helps you identify smaller, better defined target groups, just like this visual does. It takes the whole population and puts them into those smaller groups. That's what Ford did. So maybe the red people are the C-Max hybrid car, maybe the blue are the F-150 limited pickup truck, and maybe the light blue could be some type of sedan that they create for bigger families or something, or an SUV or whatever. It helps you to identify and understand these key customer segments. So you really know everything about those people in the red. And it helps you to reach customers more efficiently by tailoring the market offerings, as I've already mentioned, product, price, and place, and the messages, your promotions to those customers' specific needs. Segmentation systems help marketers segment people and locations into marketable groups of like-minded customers. Okay? So that's kind of some of what you're going to be working on with the market segmentation. And what targeting is once you've segmented these out, you target those, what segments you think are going to be the most economically advantageous to your company. So let's say if we had the red, the dark blue, and the light blue, maybe 4 just focused on the red and the dark blue. And they'll work on something later for the light blue. That's hypothetical. All right, so finally, let's take a look at the SWOT analysis. I do want to spend a couple minutes on this because this is probably one of the hardest things for even professional marketers to do. So I'm going to try and walk you through this. This is your discussion post for week 2. So if you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to call me or email me. I'm sorry, but and as I read through your discussion post, I'm going to help point out things that may not be just right. The one thing that I really want you to remember that a lot of people make this mistake is that on the SWOT analysis, you're looking at the environment around you. It's like sitting in the middle of a room and you're looking around a room to say, I've got blue walls and I have this type of furniture. I've got 2 windows. I've got a plant in the corner. You're looking around the room, okay? You're not putting strategies in here, okay? You're not saying, well, I could paint the walls brown to match the furniture or whatever. That's not what you're doing. You're just assessing what is around you. One of the biggest mistakes I see is that especially in the opportunities, for some reason, a lot of people want to put in there that they're going to use coupons to bring people in, or they're going to use social media. Well, that's a promotional tactic. It's not an opportunity. All right. So let's look at the 4 different parts of the SWOT analysis, and hopefully you'll see what I mean. So you have internal. The top 2 are internal, and your bottom 2 are external. You have strengths and weaknesses. With them being internal, it means you can control it. You have complete control of this. You can change it and you can make it better, or you can you've already made your strengths are things you've already made great. And those are internal capabilities that help a company reach your objectives. What are you really good at? All right. What's available with your pet food product that you're really good at, that's already been developed or set in place for you. Your weaknesses are limitations that may interfere with your ability to achieve its objectives. But with those weaknesses, again, it's things that you have complete control over, but they are negative. But in some way, you can fix this. All right. The external, when you have opportunities and threats. Your opportunities are things that are out in the environment, like outside of the room that you're sitting in my example I was giving you. So outside of the room, what are the opportunities that are out there? Is the sun shining through the windows so it's a beautiful day, or there's a breeze blowing? You see that the trees are blowing outside, and there's a nice cool breeze blowing. That's the opportunity. Opening the window to let the breeze in, that's a tactic, right? It's something you physically do to capture that opportunity. A threat might be, these are things that are external factors that can challenge your company's performance. Again, they're negative. Everybody should have, I'll just give you this one, everybody should have competitors as a threat. You have no control over the competitors, but everybody has competitors, and that's definitely going to be a threat, and you need to be aware of what those threats that are out there. What I encourage you to do before you actually create your SWOT analysis in a discussion post is sit down and do one personally. as a college student or a mom or a dad or whatever. Um, if I were to do one, let's say as a I'm a doctoral student, all right? So my strengths would be probably I'm good at time management and I enjoy reading and researching and I'm a good writer, all right? So those are strengths. I've worked hard on those and they're strengths. Weaknesses are I do like to take naps, so sometimes that distracts me. So another weakness is that I don't know, maybe I have to use a particular type of program and I don't know how to use it very well. So I have a weakness in that area. So I've got to learn how to use it. Um, Opportunities and threats, for opportunities as a college student working on my doctorate, I've got the library that's through my university that's just full of resources for me. I have friends who have their doctorate that I can go to them for advice and help. Those are things that, and like, I can go to them and they can give me, like I said, advice and help. Threats could be, again, these are things that I can't control. So they might be, let's say, a family emergency, or maybe I get sick and I'm not able to do my work. Things like that threaten me and keep me from being able to do my job. So that's the SWOT analysis. And again, let me know if you need help. Real quickly, just to recap what all you have going on this week, I encourage you to read chapter 6, and it's just a couple pages in chapter 2 on the SWOT analysis. And be sure to kind of go over the glossary a little bit. You also have the module overview that you can see everything we're going to be doing, and it explains everything even in greater detail. There is a little video on the SWOT with a little activity, and it's fun. Check it out, and it'll help you understand that. Your initial discussion post will be due on Thursday night by midnight, and this is a SWOT analysis on your company, and it is the final project one, milestone one. Friday, this is recommended, of course, schedule. But you have a My Marketing Lab simulation for you to do, and I believe that's on segmentation and targeting. And then don't forget by Sunday at midnight to have responses to at least 2 classmates. You guys are really interacting great in the discussion board. Please keep that up because it helps us all. All right. Sorry it took a little bit longer than I planned, but hopefully this will help you a little bit, and give me a shout if you need any help at all, and I'll pop in and out of the classroom often. So talk to you later. Have a great week.